Welcome back to another Frugal Friday on the YouTube channel Is Fire For Me. I'm Jesse, and this is Kim, and we are reading the book The Art of Frugal Hedonism. Kim, what chapter are we on this week?
We are on chapter 14, which is Don't Buy Drinks. We don't mean never, but we do mean almost never. In general, those drink bastards charge you mostly for the bottle and branding, or for the service if you're in a cafe or restaurant. If the tap water in your area is safe to drink, bottled water is absurd, and not only from a financial point of view. And fizzy drinks and most juices are basically sugar. They frequently cost nearly half as much as your meal and add relatively nutritionless calories while they're at it. Keep a bottle of water in your bag instead and refill it from the nearest tap when it's low. If you're having a sit-down meal, don't just automatically find something on the menu because the wait person says, "and to drink." Order a drink only if you really want one and ask for a glass of water otherwise. People are often shocked by how much money they can save this way, and with little sense of suffering. Exceptions we personally like to make are for ritualistic drinks that stand in place of eating out. Perhaps a random vino at an outdoor table as the sun goes down, the buying of which gives you license to sit and watch the passing crowds for a while. As for alcohol, more generally, drinking at home or on a friend's porch or on a picnic blanket placed in a suitably salubrious location is obviously cheaper. As for alcohol, more generally, drinking at home or on a friend's porch or on a picnic blanket placed in a suitably salubrious location is obviously cheaper, especially if you enjoy brewing your own. If we plan on having a couple of drinks, your authors tend to shun pubs or bars in favor of these more teenage locations. It was fun then, and it's fun now. We also highly recommend getting a second-hand fur scarf or something so you can feel luxurious while drinking cheap gin. What comes next is pretty cheeky. Your cunning authors are about to sneak a whole extra frugal strategy in under the Don't Buy Drinks heading. It's actually one of the top money-saving strategies in this entire book, but we suspected some of you might avoid reading it if it announced itself. If you really want to spend less, eat out less. Current generations are eating out way more than previous ones, laying out serious money for the privilege, and contributing to current food waste crises via the ingredient profile and size of meals prepared away from home. If you're a dab hand in the kitchen, cooking at home in a creative cloud of steam and spices produces dishes at least as tasty as what you get when you eat out, and for a tenth of the price. Eating out less also makes it into much more of a treat when you do it. Find a couple of cheap places that you really like so that you get maximum bang for your dining buck, like a noodle bar that churns them out hot and fresh and has a 2-for-1 deal on Monday nights that you can make an occasion out of now and again. We've already sung the praises of the packed lunch, so we won't go there again now, but don't forget the packed snack. If you know you're going to be out and about for a long stretch, stuff some hearty food items like an apple and a few nuts into your bag so you're not forced to blow cash on tiny tubs of overpriced sugary yogurt from convenience stores. The essential attitude change inherent in all the above suggestions is that food, by default, comes from home, and getting it from elsewhere is a deliberate indulgence, not just what happens whenever you need to eat. The savings resulting from this mental shift can be huge, which can directly contribute to you working less and having time for more experiences that don't involve trawling Urban Spoon for hours. This one's hard.
So, don't buy drinks, huh?
With a sneaky subset of eat out less.
I think you just did was it appliances? Or no, maybe they haven't seen it yet. Maybe I just edited an upcoming daily dose about eating out less that will be coming.
Yes,
I don't know. Depends on when this comes up and when that came out. I'm lost in all my editing. Anyways, so yeah, eating out obviously can be very expensive, and I think while we're all going through this pandemic and learning to make more food at home and or maybe eat out more, depending on which direction you took it. We're probably seeing what that looks like and how that can weigh one way or the other. So, do you think eating out less saves money?
I do, although I do think sometimes it's expensive to prepare meals, but maybe I'm preparing meals that are a bit too fancy and out there, and I should be sharing more ingredients with other recipes and things. But definitely, I mean, when we go out, unless you have a coupon or you're getting something on sale, you can't leave the restaurant spending less than $30. And that's not for like outrageous food. That's for like an average meal. And I think most of the time the meals I prepare here are no more than $8 a person and usually much less than that. So it has to be saving money. This chapter reminds me of when I was little and we would go out to eat sometimes, and my parents were quite thrifty themselves. They were pretty cheap people, and with 3 kids, we didn't have a lot of extra money to spend on things like beverages. And so I remember one time when we went out and I was like encouraged to get a beverage, and I remember ordering root beer and how amazing it was to be sitting at a restaurant drinking a root beer like, some fancy exotic rich person. And that memory sticks with me because I still find that when we go out to eat, I usually just drink water unless we are at my favorite vegan restaurant, in which case I always get an Italian soda because those aren't very accessible to vegans. So it comes with whipped cream and all of the fancy stuff, and it's quite delicious. But usually I just am fine with water unless we have a coupon that requires us to get beverages or something.
True, yeah. Every once in a while we'll get coupons that require beverages, and then obviously we'll end up getting the beverage there to get the deal. But I think we've always been pretty much water drinkers when it comes to going out to eat. And I think it's interesting too, not to throw shade on your sister or anything, but your sister being the youngest child and the last one at home, I think had a completely different experience with that and didn't really share the same lack of soda.
No, that little stinker, she grew up being able to drink beverages at restaurants, and I have no idea what that's like. But she's 7 years younger than I am, so by the time, my older sister and I were out of the house, she was the only child, and they would go out to eat, and she would order a root beer like it was not a big deal. And I think she really got to revel in the beverage life.
I'm sure your dad was a lot further along in his career too, and probably making more, and they were a little better off financially at that point. But so I also grew up not getting to drink much soda, including at home actually. If the kids wanted soda at home, we didn't get to drink it, which is interesting because my mom drank a lot of Diet Coke growing up, and so the only time we would get soda is if my mom had opened a can of Diet Coke and it hadn't gone flat, but it had gotten warm, and she didn't like it after it gotten warm, so she would let us kids drink it when it was warm. So I only like Diet Coke now if it's warm. I don't like Diet Coke really cold. It just doesn't taste right to me. So it's kind of an interesting fact. But I don't think this one's going to be too difficult for me on the drinking side of things. I do like to hit the fast food every once in a while when I'm out, and I'm not ever awake when I go to work in the morning, and so remembering my lunch or taking the time to pack a lunch is something that I don't do unless I do it the night before or Kim does it for me. So I think the eating out thing for lunches is probably my biggest crutch that I lean on.
Although I think, I don't know what you do with lunches once they leave the house. Maybe they just go straight in the garbage. But I would say that we pack lunch for you probably 3 out of 5 days a week on average. Sometimes it's 5 days a week. Sometimes it's 1 day a week. But on average, probably 3 out of the 5 days. So yeah. I think for the most part, you're taking leftovers with you. I haven't gotten lunch out in a really long time. I'm not allowed to leave my workplace at lunchtime, so I have to bring lunch, and so I just grab whatever we have here that's left over, or I'll make a haphazard sandwich or something. So I definitely think for me, I could probably save some money if I gave up my coffee drinking, but I think I've talked about before on this channel that doesn't happen very successfully. So I don't drink coffee out, but a bag of coffee is somewhere between $7 and $10, and it lasts several weeks. And then the creamer habit really is what gets me. So I drink a lot of cream in my coffee, and it's this very specific vegan creamer that we found. So I think if I really wanted to get serious, I could probably give that up and we'd save some money. But I also think, you know, just like the authors are saying in this section, if having a beverage adds to your life, like if the ritual of having your warm cup of coffee in your hands and drinking it before, you know, the dawn starts to happen is adding to your life, then keep drinking your beverages. Just don't thoughtlessly consume them, right?
Yeah, I think it's how a lot of these things that we talk about on this channel are. We're not saying that all these things that we bring up to be frugal or cheap or whatever you want to call it are bad things. We're just trying to help us all think of ways in which we might be able to cut out things that don't mean something to us and that we might be spending on without needing to. So don't take all these things as something that we're saying you can't do or we don't do, but rather use them as inspiration to maybe find different ways to save a little extra money in your budget to maybe put towards the fun things that you want to be doing. So, all right, that's a great one. So, well, thanks for watching, everybody. We really appreciate you all watching. We're really getting up there in the subs, and we appreciate all of you. And we will see you on the next video.
Bye.